Good morning, and welcome to another wonderful Sunday at Unity in Naperville. And we're so excited to see all of you here. And I was just mentioning how there's so many on this side that we're sort of leaning this way, but so you all have to pull your weight over here so we can stay sturdy. And welcome to you who are online and visiting with us or part of our congregation. We're so grateful that you're here today. It's going to be a wonderful hour together, and we're going to do what we always do. We start off with music. Our wonderful Highest Good Band is going to kick us off. So stand as you're able and enjoy.
Oh! There you go. Good morning, everyone. Let's sing together. Come. Take a hand, come, give your heart, come, as you are, come, 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 lift your voice, come, shine your light, come, now is the time, come, come. This day we have made with God. Come see what love has done. Come, take a hand. Come, give your heart. Come, as you are. Come. Come and come, lift your voice, come, shine your light, come, now is the time, come, come, as we gather in this sacred place, Spirit leads us face to face. Come, take a hand, come, give your heart, come, as you are, come, 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 lift your voice, come, shine your light, come, now is the time, come, come, come. Oh, here we are. You know, it says a song goes, come as you are. How are you today? Yeah. You know, and sometimes I come and I'm filled with this energy and this excitement. And I'm not saying I'm not that this morning. I am. But sometimes I'm filled with other things happening in my life. And that's why I'm so grateful. We get to come exactly as we are. Exactly. Wherever you're at right now, you are welcome here, and you are truly, deeply loved. And this love that we know, that exists within us, in this space together, it's all around, and we get to share, partake in the sharing of that love. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Beautiful thing.
Please don't hesitate. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. just wait and see. Oh, love, the day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide, kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. People, now put a little love in your heart. Each and every day, put a little love in your heart. There's no other way. Put a little love in your heart. Oh, it's up to you. Put a little love in your heart. Come on, Dan. Put a little love in your heart. Yeah. So it is.
Thank you, Kim-Char and Highest Good. Thank you for rocking this room. So I'm Reverend Mary Beth Spear, and you might have noticed this is not Reverend Kity Benson on this stage. Hi, Kity. She's probably watching here today. She's on a wonderful, well-deserved sabbatical. And so we have the ability to just send her a lot of love as we do an opening invocation. So I invite you to close your eyes and just breathe in all of what was just sung into this room, spoken into this room. Feel the vibration of this room, the vibration of love, community, kindness, joy, inclusivity, diversity, zeal, compassion, and anything else you want to add in your mind to that list. Add it now to this prayer. As we let these words go forth, knowing that this morning is a perfect morning, we are the right people here at the right time for all the right reasons. And with a sense of incredible gratitude, we let these words go forth by affirming, and so it is. Amen. And now, if you'd please join me in our opening statement of truth. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. You may be seated.
So it is. I know we've sung this chant a few times, written by Karen Drucker. There are 3 parts to it. We'll go through them, and at some point, whatever is calling to your heart, you just sing out that part. We can sing them all at the same time. It's all good. That's how it's written. How's that sound?
I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. Let's sing that again. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful.
you.
I am grateful.
Thank 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 you. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide
Thank you.
open with every breath I
Thank
take.
you.
I'm grateful.
Thank you.
I promise in this
Thank you.
moment to keep my heart
Thank
wide
you.
open with every breath I
Thank
take.
you.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Grateful.
Thank you.
Grateful.
Thank you.
I am grateful.
I promise in this
I
moment
am grateful.
to keep my heart wide
I
open
am grateful.
with every breath I take.
I am grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There's a Sanskrit word, namaste, which most of you have probably heard of. And namaste means the God in me honors and recognizes the God in you, because we teach that there is truly only one of us here. We are oneness, but not sameness. We are the unity in diversity. And it is so beautiful that we're all here together. I wish you could all come up here and just see what it looks like to look out at your beautiful faces. So before I start, would you be willing, and it might be a little risky for some of you, but would you be willing to turn to one or two people and just say namaste, and I'm glad you're here. Okay, so feels good, doesn't it? It's about connection, community. We are unity. Well, when Kity first asked me about speaking while she's on sabbatical, immediately I have to start thinking about, oh my God, what am I going to talk about? You know, it's like I have all these textbooks, and how do I kind of condense them down to 20 minutes and not be like giving you water off a fire hose? So I thought, okay, what can I do? And what I really began to think about, a couple of things. One of them, I really want to honor all of us for being here rather than glued to our TVs with the Olympics going on. And so far, so good, right? Aren't they beautiful? But I also really wanted to say that we are in a really unique time in the history of humanity and in the history of our nation. And today is 100 days to the day of our national election, marked today. So we're going to talk about that today. What we're primarily, we'll be telling you some things that you might want to tune into at the end of the hour we spend together. We'll be giving you some ideas about things that you can do to kind of up your consciousness game and tune it up. But what I thought I wanted to do is, before we do any tips and techniques and practice, what I really wanted to talk about is going back to basics, like really have a conversation about what that means. In Unity, we teach principles. We have 5 principles that are the foundational undergirding of our entire denomination and our the whole theology that we're a part of, called New Thought Movement. And the first principle is a very, very simple principle. God is all there is, and there is only good. God is good, and there's all there is. The second principle, If God is all there is, even just theoretically, argue that with me, if it's all there is, it is infinite, limitless, and boundless, then what does it say about us? We must be one with that. And that which we are one with, we are. So right where you are, God is. Now, the third thing we teach, which is pretty important, is that we create our experiences by what we choose, hear the word, what we choose to think and what we feel and we believe. So we're going to talk today about this word choose and about these principles and the simplicity of them. And what I really want you to hear from me, I've been teaching metaphysics and I've been teaching new thought, unity, science of mind. I've been teaching these things for over 20 years. And I'm a newbie. I still get spiritual amnesia a lot. And I imagine you might too. So what I always do is when I get a chance to speak up here is I give the talk I need to hear. And so I thank you all for showing up so you can listen to me talk to myself. So I decided after having this thing we do on Mondays, I have that group called Monday Morning Metaphysics, which you're all welcome to Zoom into anytime you want. It's my gift to the community. And for an hour and a half, what we do is we talk about metaphysical principles. We use a book, we read, and then we kind of ingest what we read. And the thing we read Monday morning really hit home for me, and it reminded me of a foundational book, little booklet, that is part of the Unity program, and it was also part of our training becoming licensed practitioners, a little book written by Emmett Fox called Life is Consciousness. And the reason it brought that to my mind, and this is my old copy, I've had this for like 20-something years, I don't even remember. But what I wanted to share with you, and this is our first slide, this is a line from The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. And hear these words like they're your own, okay? You are the controller of your consciousness. Consciousness contains total intelligence because consciousness is the action of the infinite mind thinking. Your consciousness is the individualization of the total consciousness of being. That is why it will demonstrate for you a richer life when you are certain you want it. And here's one of those words again, and have decided to have it. Again, another word for choice. He goes on, he said, it all depends on you, not on the world of events, things, people. Your mind is where you live. I'll repeat that. Your mind is where you live. Your mind, not someone else's mind, your mind. And an expanded consciousness expresses in an expanded experience. This is the way the law of mind works. It works no other way. You know, doesn't that sound like simple? It sounds kind of interesting, easy. When we're sitting in this room and we feel that namaste and we feel the confidence that we can turn to people in this room and feel that acceptance and the love and all that we feel in these rooms. And it's why we get together, and it's a beautiful thing. It's just that after a while, we have to get up out of the seats and go out into another part of the world of our making. And it's how we do that that's everything, because once again, how we think about what we think about is what we bring about. So there is that simple truth. Life is consciousness. New Thought theology, of which our denomination Unity is a part, doesn't teach us what to think. Do you get that? You will probably never, ever be able to say that you sat in these rooms and we told you what to think. But what we will tell you and help you understand is how to think about what you think about, because we are free to choose to think in any way we want. We were given that free will and volition. And sometimes that's really good news, and sometimes that's the other news, because we don't always have the thoughts that we'd like to have replicated. I always say if you know your thoughts were like in the bubble, like a cartoon bubble, and you're walking around and people could see what you were thinking, might you edit what you're thinking about, right? So it is a simple truth. Life is a state of consciousness, and how we think about what we think about is everything. Because remember that third principle, how we think about what we think about is what we bring into our experience. Some of that can even be explained in science by the law of attraction. Everybody's heard of the law of attraction, I imagine, by now. It's how we attract to us, not what we want, but what we are. So that's an interesting part that we'll get into a little bit later. But I was reading, and I found an old funny that I pulled out of Reader's Digest one day. And Michael and I love the giant redwoods. I don't know how many of you have ever been there. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, they're so beautiful. Anyway, this was a little article that was in the Reader's Digest. It said, I was up in the giant redwoods, one of the most beautiful redwood forests in California, magnificent trees that can grow over 350 feet tall and measure as much as 16 feet wide in diameter. I mean, they're just awesome. And this person was sitting at their campsite enjoying the stillness, the beauty of the surroundings, thinking how the park had the feel of a giant cathedral, when a big motorhome comes pulling up next to him. The driver stuck his head out the window and shouted out, "Hey, is there anything to see around here besides trees?" A long time ago, I wrote a little poem. It says, simple truths aren't learned with ease. They're the forest for the trees. Hard to grasp, yet once they're known, they're the seeds from which I've grown. Stressing the idea of this simplicity, change your thinking, change your life. Who has not? I want a hand for somebody who's not heard, change your thinking, change your life. Okay, no hands. I'm assuming no hands are going off in the Zoom room either, because we've heard it over and over. Change your thinking, change your life. Doesn't that sound so simple? Well, here's the issue. There's something back behind what we think about, and that's the belief behind it. So it's not just about changing the words. It's not just about the idea that if I say a couple of mantras, it's a one and done. This is about getting into our own personal archaeology to discern what are those subjectified thoughts and beliefs that we have bought into for years and believed in. They're our truth. And yet what I always tell students is don't believe everything you think, because often what we've thought about is the limitation that we brought upon ourselves. So I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about me. New thought didn't come real easily to me back in the 80s when I first got into this. I started going to a church in California. I had a lot of issues, and I thought that my emotions led my life. I had not yet heard that I could change how I thought about what I thought about and have a different result. Believe it or not, I didn't ever know that. I mean, I'm talking, this is dating me now, but I'm talking pre-Louise Hay. I mean, the book wasn't out yet. So having to learn how to really change my thinking, and I was very much, at times, a prisoner of my emotions. Have you ever felt that way? You don't know what to do? And I stumbled into a New Thought church, and they talked about the fact that unless you change your state of consciousness, nothing else is going to change. It's like that thing, if you always did what you always done, you always get what you always got. If you always think what you always thought, you always get what you always get. Right? It's kind of like the definition of insanity. So I began to listen, and one of the things that was cool was when I was at that church, I was not a great gardener. I didn't have a lot of, I had no leadership in this church yet. I was really like just part of the wallpaper. I really wanted it to be that way. I was very occluded back in these days, introverted. To this day, I still, believe it or not, am an introvert. I just kind of cover it up by being an extrovert. But I've discovered that's not necessarily a trait that I have on my own. I've noticed that's true for a lot of people. But I was really an introvert to the point where at some points I was actually having panic attacks when I had to get up and speak in public. And part of my ability to do my job meant I had to get up in front of public. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job because I can't do what I'm doing right here. So I even helped start a Toastmaster group so we could all have our knees shaking together and get over it, and talk about how scared we were to each other and get points in our workbook for it. So that was kind of fun. But what I found one day when I was working there at the church, I was volunteering. We had something called the Green Team. We had a very large yard out front of our church, and it was backed into a backyard of a residential house, and backyard and garden. So I got out there one sunny morning and I had the trowel, to start weeding the crabgrass. It's in our rose garden. And the rose garden was pretty big. It was 12 to 15 feet, across and around. And so I got in there and I started to, at first, just kind of pull on the weeds. And, that's effective for a few days because they go away pretty quickly. But I noticed they come back. And so I took the trowel and I began to work it into the ground, and I began to pull on the first crabgrass that I got to. And I got under the dirt, and I began to trowel through that root. And I kept following this taproot, and I got really fascinated by it. And I literally followed one of those taproots all the way across the garden to the complete other side before I could get to the taproot and pull that thing out. Now, to me, that's always been one of the best metaphors I know for the work it takes to really be willing to extricate within myself what is standing in the way of my believing I am one with God. Because all of the separation we feel, all the fear we feel, all of the anxiety we feel, all those things are really they're just symptoms of our being separate from our source. And it's not true. But because we have grown up thinking it's true, we have evidence of it. We also have different denominations and thought schools and religions that teach that there are two powers, power for good and power for evil, which we don't teach. We teach one power and our pure volition in it. And to the degree that we can learn, and it's learn, this is the hard part. This is the responsibility part, where we learn how to respond and that we can think in a different way to get a different result. And you know what I think that takes? I think it takes courage, and I think it takes really being willing to be vulnerable. I don't like being vulnerable, but don't know about the rest of you. And yet, the more we learn to be vulnerable and malleable and permeable and being willing to not know, which is a very empowering idea, to not know, the more we can be open to learn. We say that learning new thought is as simple as ABCs. Awareness builds consciousness. So here's the deal. You can't be aware of something that you want to change if you're not aware of it. If you can't see what you can't see, you don't know that you have something you need to do about it. You just know that life is the way it is, and it's just going to be that way. But we learned something different here. And what's beautiful about unity, we do follow most of the teachings, primarily the most of our teachings that we teach are biblically based. A lot of them come out of the Gospels, Jesus' words, and his parables. And we love his parables. Jesus went around and told stories. And we were talking about this in Monday Morning Metaphysics, about how we learn better with stories. And part of the reason is because it's not all theoretical and heady. It's like we can touch it and we can feel it and we can see it. And most importantly, we can feel it. So you remember Jesus taught about like sowing and reaping, and we taught about the idea that what we put into the ground, we have to let go of so that the law of life can work on it like soil. And what we learn how to do in New Thought is we learn that what we plant are thought seeds. And the thought seeds don't go into dirt or soil, they go into the creative medium that's known as the law. And they come about in exact replication to what was planted. So it's the same thing as if you had a rutabaga seed and you planted in the soil, but you really wanted a petunia. And what you got at the end was a perfect rutabaga. And you went, I didn't want that. So we have to learn as we work with these laws and these principles that there is something that we need to know if we're planting petunias and we're getting rutabagas. Michael and I have a Jeep. We just got a Jeep recently, and it does funny things because it's very well equipped. Anybody have those cars that there's so much to it, it's like sitting down learning a whole new computer? And so the other day, Michael took our grandkids over to their camp that they were going to, and he got into the parking lot, and he calls me from the parking lot, and he's really befuddled. He goes, the car won't work. He just dropped off the kids, he turns on the car, and the car won't work. It's like it's turning on, and it's going a little bit, but then it's stopping. And he's trying it over and over again. And of course, now we're going into that place of like, okay, what are we going to do about it? And call the Jeep dealership, or we're going to have it towed. What are we, all this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden he looked on, it was some instrument panel in there, and he saw a little door, like a symbol, like maybe the door isn't shut all the way. So he shuts the door. Guess what? The Jeep works perfectly. So here's the deal about working with the law. It's the same thing as like working with a Jeep. There is the perception that this is so hard that it just doesn't work. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like, well, I worked with the law, I prayed, I didn't get what I wanted, things are going to hell in a handbasket, I don't know what to do about it. This stuff just doesn't work. Anybody ever maybe in your like quiet moments had that feeling? Okay, my hand's up. So here's one of my favorite lines, slide number 2. Here's one of my favorite lines out of the Science of Mind textbook that was written by Ernest Holmes, who was a contemporary of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who were the founders of Unity Movement. And Ernest is talking about how the law works. And he says, here's the deal. It follows that if we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. When we believe that it cannot and will not, then according to the principle, it does not. But when it does not, it still does. Only it does according to our belief that it will not. And I just love that. This is our own punishment through the law of cause and effect. We do not enter in because of our doubts and our fears. So part of our hard work is to really look at what's in my way. And we look at that by paying attention to how we think about what we think about a lot. One of the things we used to do in class is we would keep little notebooks with us all the time. And every time we had a thought, like one of these limiting thoughts, maybe it was fear about money, maybe it was some issue of the body, maybe it was something about a relationship or whatever it was, we would make a little hash mark or write it down. And we began to be able to see that we could tell on ourselves pretty quickly on how repetitive our thinking was in a certain direction. And I imagine most of you have heard that scientifically they say that we think at least 60,000 thoughts a day. Wow, we should be geniuses, except they're the same 60,000 thoughts a day. So there you go. So part of the work is the intervening. It's part of why in the practical way with our principles, what we teach is prayer and affirmation. We teach ways to intervene and to advocate on our own behalf when we have what the Buddhists would call monkey mind moments, where we start, it's like a monkey jumping from doubt to fear to worry, those thoughts. Anybody can relate to that? So that's what we work on doing here, is to learn how to change our thinking, change our life, but we have to change our beliefs about it. Somebody recently said, and it zinged me, see if it zings you. They said, look, I can explain this to you, but I cannot understand it for you. Therein lies that work. We're the ones who have to see, how can we make this understandable? Most of what we teach in New Thought is really what we call ancient wisdom. And New Thought, it was not just a new movement, it means the new thought is needed so that we can have a new experience. So let's look at slide number 3. This is another Emmett Fox quote. The way to meet a problem is to raise your consciousness. In the Bible, the valley always stands for trouble, sin, limitation, the mount for uplifted thought, and prayer for understanding. We must go up into the mount. We must raise our consciousness. What I'm really excited about is the fact that we're at a time in history of mankind where science and spirituality are really intermingling now, that one's proving the other. And what we've really found is there's a combination of a couple of things that are really wonderful. One is that thinking, logos, the word, is vibratory. So the word we think, or even we speak, but also the word we think has vibration. It's measurable. And in the Bible, you may remember there's that line, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So remember back we talked about principle number 2, we are one with God? So when we're speaking our word, it's God speaking. And if we are one mind, then what we're speaking into and out of that mind that has the vibration is actually affecting the entirety of life. Never underestimate that your thoughts don't matter. Amazing scientist by the way of David Hawkins did a thing called power versus force, and he calibrated consciousness and created a whole map of consciousness. Calibrated it from the lowest thought all the way up to the avatar. And he discovered in doing that, all of his research, that he said about 85% of people in the world calibrate below 200 on the scale, which is non-truth, destructive force at some level. But what he also said is 15% of people in the world calibrate above 200 on that scale. And that those 15%, and I'd like to have us be the Unity in Naperville 15% Club, are you in? We counterbalance the 85%. Part of what we're going to talk about at the very end today before we leave is about how we can all be counterbalancing through this program that New Thought has launched starting today during the 100 days till we get to the election. But isn't that fascinating? Because, you know, you've also heard this old idea about if the tide begins to rise, what happens to the boats? They all rise. Every boat has to rise. The tide goes up. So part of this is to really be able to look beyond appearances and not be moved by them. You know, Jesus talked about if you can have the faith of a grain of a mustard seed. Now, this is quantum physics, you guys, because to have the faith is to take one of the invisible infinite waves, quantum waves, they're infinite and they're everywhere. Focus on it, make a decision, choose something new, and that wave becomes a particle. And what a better analogy of a particle, better metaphor than a mustard seed, little bitty mustard seed. And then he says that can move a mountain. It's because things change when we change. So a lot of this is really about mindfulness, about minding and tending our mind. I'm going to share with you on this next slide. In the Science of Mind textbook, this is a quote that when I was a newbie and was really trying to change my mind and my heart a lot, I actually carried this in my wallet for years. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Stay with the one," and this is on there, right? "Stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. To desert the truth in the hour of need is," now notice, by the way, a thing about Ernest Holmes, if he really wanted you to get it, he would put it all in caps, like kind of yelling, like, let's get this, okay? "To desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. When things look worst, that is the supreme moment to demonstrate to ourselves that there are no obstructions in the operation of capital T truth. When things look the worst is the best time to work, the most satisfying time. The person," I love this, "the person who can throw himself with a complete abandon into that limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward." I imagine many of us can think back to times when we've had some real challenges, real struggles. And when we stayed with that one and did not deviate, and we threw ourselves into that limitless sea of receptivity, and sometimes we had no choice. The moorings were cut for us. We didn't do it on purpose. It just happened. But amazing things came out of it. Miracles and blessings come out of it. And that's what we teach when we work with how we think about what we think about. So I decided to end with a slide because I want to share with you something that I teach my students. So our final slide right here is by James Allen. He's the writer of the book, As a Man Thinketh. Here's a funny thing. And how many of you have read As a Man Thinketh, or you've heard of it? So it's a wonderful old book. Anyway, they have little pamphlets. It's a little bitty book. And when I was a safety supervisor in California, I used to buy these little books at my printer for like 50 cents. And I'd carry them around because I'd be going all over East LA, driving to grocery stores and calling on them. And I would run into panhandlers all the time. And what I began to do when I'd run into some of the panhandlers and even have just a moment of conversation, I would ask them, do you read? And most of them said, yeah. And I would hand them this book. And I told them, I said, if you'll read this book, it can change your life. And I know that if you read this book, I won't see you again on this corner because life will change. Man, and it reads, this is only one quote out of there. Man is buffeted by circumstances so long as he believes himself to be a creature of outside conditions. But when he realizes that he is a creative power and then he may command the hidden soil and seeds of his being out of which circumstances grow, he then becomes the rightful master of himself. So now I want to teach you what I teach my students. What I want to do is this is interactive, this is audience participation now. What we're going to do is we're going to read this out loud together, slowly, but we're going to read it in the first person. So I want you to read this to yourself, and I'll help you. Starts out, I am buffeted by circumstances so long as I believe myself to be a creature of outside conditions. But when I realize that I am a creative power and that I may command the hidden soil and seeds of my being out of which circumstances grow, I then become the rightful master of myself. Wow, did that change it for you? Isn't that magnificent? So when you're reading some of these wonderful documents and you're studying and you're trying to move past these old beliefs and get into the crabgrass and find your taproots, I really encourage you as you're reading some of these books, put them in the first person and they'll make a whole lot of difference to you. It's almost like the membrane of understanding breaks and it becomes yours. So now we're going to take that into meditation. I'm asking Reverend Michael Spear, will you please come up and pray us in?
Let's just take a moment to breathe in and allow yourself to be present with these words that Mary Beth has spoken. These wonderful, uplifting words that we've heard from so many wonderful minds, so many wonderful teachers. And just as you breathe in and breathe out, let yourself know that right here, right now, there is only one presence, one power, one intelligence, God. And I speak this word for myself in the first person as I invite you to know it for yourself in the first person, that I am this presence, I am this power, I am this intelligence. Uniquely, magnificently expressing itself through and as me. There is none other. And knowing this, I allow myself to know the same truth for everyone else on this planet and in this entire universe. And knowing that God is all there is, and that I am an expression of it, so must and so is each and every other person, each and every thing, every living being, without any exception. I allow this truth to just resonate within me, seeing that I am a part of this great quantum field of infinite possibility. And as such, I am the creator of my own experience. In each and every moment, allowing me to choose how I desire my life to look. What is my experience that I wish to have today? What is my experience that I wish to have for this country and for this planet? I truly know that my consciousness makes a difference, because this is all happening within my mind right here and right now. And I accept and know that my mind is a powerful part of the consciousness of God. It is an expanded part, and that truly my expression of greater good and knowingness of greater good lifts this entire planet up to a higher level, into a greater knowingness. And it starts right here with me. I take this knowingness and this understanding out to my entire community, starting right here with unity. I take it out to my family. I take it out to all my friends and community around me. I expand it out to this entire country and to the entire world. And it is so good to know that I truly do make a difference. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God, for this good. I'm truly, truly blessed in it. Each of us are blessed in it. And today I accept that which I have known within myself right here and right now is already complete. It is already fulfilled. And it is already done. And I let it be so by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Let's take a nice deep breath. Wow. They say if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it's enough. Thank you. We now have an opportunity to practice the spiritual law of circulation. As we give, so shall we receive. It is our opportunity to contribute to this magnificent church, all of the people that take care of this church, brick, the mortar, the consciousness, everything right down to the pens and the paper, everything we need to keep our doors open and keep our needs met. Would our ushers please come forward? Oh, I'm supposed to say how to do this. Okay. Well, in addition to ushers coming forward, we can contribute through the ushers having baskets being passed. We also, for online viewers, you can donate through our website at unityinnaperville.org or mail checks to Post Office Box 9733, Naperville 60567. And I think that's, and you can use our QR code, which is very high-techy and really helpful. So, and now would you know with me our offering words? There we go. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you.
This is a song called The Garden by Eddie Watkins Jr.
There is a garden where dreams come true. beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows. A beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true. A beautiful garden, that garden is you. Such a beautiful garden, that garden is you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Kevin Conlon, Ina, Mark on drums, you know Rick, Linda, Leela, and Juliet, our highest good singers. Thank you, Dad.
That was fabulous. Thank you, highest good singers. What a wonderful new addition we have. Thank you, everyone. That was beautiful. And if our ushers would come forward and we can bless our gifts. Speaking of seeds, we recognize that everything that is received are seeds that are going to be planted into that law and going forth and creating amazing things that we cannot even begin to fathom. So we say thank you. We give thanks to the givers of these gifts, the blessings of these gifts, and the entire vibration of the consciousness of contribution that moves through this center. Thank you, God, and so it is. And I think we have some announcements. All kinds of great things coming up. Here we go.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Deb DeSandro, and I'll be sharing the announcements today. If you are joining us here for the first time, we welcome you. We're so glad you're here. And if you would like to fill out our registration form, you can find one right in the front room, and we can let you know about all the things going on here. If you're a virtual newcomer, you can also find us by signing up for the weekly e-news at unityinnaperville.org. And how about if we go to lunch together today after service at Patelli's Gyros and Beef? Sounds fun. Next Sunday is the last day to donate backpacks and school supplies to help the children of grandparents raising grandchildren prepare for the school year. A list of supplies needed is available in the front room and in our e-news. Monetary donations are also welcome and gift cards. To donate online, enter school supplies as the donation reason. And we need a lot. Okay, we can do that. And Monday Morning Metaphysics with Mary Beth meets tomorrow online at 10:30 a.m. They are reading The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Baker, and newcomers are always welcome. If you were born in August, we'd like to celebrate your birthday with you. Forward a photo along with your name and birthday to admin@unityinnaperville.org by this coming Thursday, and we'll sing to you next Sunday. Join us Friday at 7 p.m. right on the front lawn for a fun game from Finland where you throw things similar to bowling. It's called maybe Malq. The Finnish word is very interesting. Please bring snacks to share and $2 cash to fund the prize pot. Oh, now this sounds like fun. We're making prayer beads for TheoFest on Saturday, August 10th, and we'd love your help. We'll meet at Cece's Pizza for lunch at 11:30, and from there we'll stop at a craft store to purchase beads. If you can't join us for lunch, meet us right at Unity at approximately 1 p.m. for crafting and conversation. Check the e-news or the event calendar for more info. Now, is it possible that any of you shop at Amazon? If you do, did you know that when you make a purchase, you can raise funds for Unity at no extra cost to you? Just start your shopping experience by accessing Amazon through the link on our homepage first. Go to the unityinnaperville.org, scroll to the bottom of the page, click the Amazon link, then start shopping. Unity will receive a donation from Amazon based on what you spend. That's awesome. Thank you for your support. Our prayer chaplain today is Kyra. And Kyra, she can pray with you in the prayer room after the service, or you can email your name and phone to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a chaplain will call you today by 1 p.m. For details on all of our events, see the event calendar at unityinnaperville.org, and Kim-Char has a special announcement.
Indeed. Hey, before we go to the next slide, thank you, Deb. Yay! Thank you, honey. Before we go to the next slide, Vadim, just to let you know there's some audio on the next slide. And where's the next one, thank you. There'll be audio. But Amy Steinberg, oh my goodness, will be here next week. If you have not experienced Amy Steinberg, I invite you to something that could truly, honestly change your life. The first time I heard her, and then I heard her song Exactly, my heart was like, whoa, what is this? And she's an incredibly dynamic and gifted songwriter, performer, minister. She brings it all. And she'll be sharing with Sunday morning both the music and the message, and with a concert afterward, if we can run that.
Good morning, Unity of Naperville. It's me, Amy Steinberg, and I just wanted to say I'm so excited to see you next Sunday for a service and a concert. And I can't wait to share the excitement that is brewing all over the world right now. You can feel it in the full bloom summer. And I just wanted to say, excuse the mess behind me. I'm creating lots of little masterpieces to bring with me to share. I have art and music and lots of creative expression to share with you. So I can't wait to meet you, Unity of Naperville. I'm Amy Steinberg, and I can't wait to see you next Sunday. I'll be heavily meditated. I'll be heavily meditated and ready to inspire, uplift, and nourish you with some spiritual food. See you then.
I guarantee you she'll be heavily meditated. And one last thing, it would be really, really helpful to know how many people to expect for lunch. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, I encourage you to do that today. You know, there wasn't that much excitement about a taco bar because we had just had one. So I'm doing a full-blown barbecue. We're doing it. But we'll take care of you vegans and vegetarians as well. But it's going to be a lovely meal. Can I have a show of hands who's thinking they might come for the lunch? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You may put your hands down. Thank you for letting me count. And now, Michael.
Thank you. You're a good counter. That was quick. You should make her an accountant. First of all, I want to thank Reverend Dr. Mary Beth for that amazing talk this morning. Thank you. I need to get those basics too all the time. You know, we all do. It just brings us back right to get centered. So that's what I wanted to talk about this morning. We have a slide, if we could put that up. There we go. So a lot of you probably got this slip. It says 100, my election intention. You're not having to fill anything out about election vote here or anything like that. If you didn't get one, there should be some out in front, I think. Are they out there, Diane, somewhere? Or Diane has them. So you hit up Diane, she'll give you one. But this gives you the information that we have up on the slide. It's a New Thought community endeavor, if you will. Today, as has been mentioned, is our 100 days until the election. Has that caused occasionally some angst or anxiety for people, anyone in this room now and then, occasionally? And we're just at the start of this whole process, right? And it doesn't matter what side you're on. That's not what this is about. You know, we're either, we say, pushed by anxiety or pulled by a vision. And this is about getting into vision. So this program, you can sign up for it. I encourage you to do it. You simply call in. Pardon me? It's free. That's right. There's no charge for this. You can just sign up by dialing in every morning. And it happened this morning. I know Kelly mentioned she got one this morning too. At 8 a.m., you'll get a call. It presumably will go into voicemail for maybe one time. I don't know, because I answered it and then couldn't get back to it or anything like that. But it was this morning was from Dr. Michael Beckwith at Agape Church. It's going to be different thought leaders across unity, religious science. There'll be something every day going on, and also there'll be, as I mentioned, the daily mindfulness messages. Weekly Zoom community check-ins are going to be available. Intentional community building, and they say it's based on proven somatic healing practices. I don't exactly know what those are, but I'm looking forward to find out. But it's going to be wonderful, and I think for me, I'm just speak for myself, I could use this as we go through this process to keep my consciousness raised up, and that's why I encourage you all to do. This is all about raising up our consciousness. Reverend Mary Beth? Sure. So for everyone who's online, if you can't read this clearly, I'm going to read off. There's a phone number on here. I'm going to get out of the way a little bit. I might be out of the camera scope. It says text, quote, join, J-O-I-N, to this number, 470-784-0250. Again, text join to 470-784-0250. And you can also go to the website directly, which is www.myelectionintention.com. And I went on that this morning, easy to get to, www.myelectionintention.com. That's the Atlanta Center for Spiritual Living, Dr. David Alexander, Reverend David Alexander. And so again, I encourage you to check that out and see if you want to do it. I think I'm looking forward to it. And again, this morning we got this call. I didn't even expect it at 8 a.m. Who's calling? And it was, hello, this is Michael Beckwith. Oh, nice to have him call me. And then we got this message. So that's great. Good way to start the day. I'll mention also the last thing is that Mary Beth and I and Rick as well, who was up here singing with our choir before, are part of something called Sounds Good choir, and that all around the Chicago area. We're having a concert. It's called Summer Rocks, coming up this Thursday at 7 p.m. in Hinsdale. There are some information flyers out on tables, so if you'd like to come out and hear some just wonderful music and come out and join us. And that is free too. Mary Beth mentioned that. There's no cost for that as well. So come out for that if you can. What's that? There you go. There you go. Well, thank you very much. Wonderful being with you this morning. And let's go back to highest good.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mary Beth. It's so funny watching Mary Beth. Every other thing, it's free. It's free. So feel free to stand as you're able for our closing song, everybody. Well, here it is.
Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. See thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day, by day, by day, by day. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Are you ready to enjoy this week? It's an exhilarating week, and we have an affirmation we're going to affirm together as we start this magnificent Sunday. Let's know together, I am the consciousness of life, consciously aware of itself. Thank you, God. And turn to one or two people. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't. Get to know them better, get to know them at all. Say hello, namaste. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
So to our friends online, thanks for being with us. Don't see you, but I feel you. Need a little more bass, Kevin. Crank that up. Whoa. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand. Put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late. Oh, please don't hesitate. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you. Yep. And me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by, and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, you won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide, kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. People now, put a little love in your heart. You should never
would